Hey everyone, thanks for stopping by my channel. Certainly appreciate you all taking time out of your day to pay me a visit. Wanted to do something a little bit different, something I haven't really done yet before, and that is share a review of some Sixgill rods and reels that I own. Sixgill is one of those companies that every time I mention I own some of their stuff, some people kind of give me mixed reviews. How do you like it? Is it garbage or is it good? So I'm hopefully going to help answer that today. The beginning of the 2021 fishing year, I made a lot of large purchases. I bought an Ultrex. I redid the transom on my boat. I spent a lot more money than I should have. But there's two rod setups that I wanted to have for this fishing year. I wanted to have a backup square bill crankbait rod that could also double as a jerkbait rod and kind of just like a do everything type rod. And I also wanted a dedicated punching rod. I don't necessarily have a brand loyalty. I really like my older Shimano stuff. I really like my Ebu Garcia stuff. The Daiwa reels that I have are really nice. Even the Quantum reels I have. I've kind of got a hodgepodge of everything. But all my normal stuff was just a little outside the price range for getting two different combos this year. But on Facebook, Sixgill pops up almost every other week with some kind of buy one get one free offer for either the rods or the reels. So I decided I'm gonna take a risk and buy two reels and buy two rods from them and see how I like them. I bought two different reels, both the same model, the Cyclone, and the only difference on the square bill reel, I got a 7.1 ratio. And then on the punching setup, I got an 8.1. But I got a Cyclone on both of these combos. I guess let's cover the reel first since it's just one model of the reel. Those reels cost me $109.99 for both of them with that buy one get one free offer. I would say that these are a step up from the old Abu Garcia Black Max that I used to own like 10 years ago. The reels are worthwhile. You know, nothing has really given me any problems functionality wise in this year of fishing. The backup crankbait rod and jerkbait rod, I've used this a decent amount of times, not nearly as much as my Shimano SLX, which is my primary square bill setup, but I do use this almost every other trip, I would say. No issues with the reel functionality wise. I guess this is kind of functionality wise, but also a little bit aesthetics. So the reel handle, the reel handle is nice. I like it actually. I like the color combo with the black and the blue. But the one issue with these reel handles, it's held on. They're not held on by these, but they have these covers, which are. It's a really wide flathead setup. So no normal flathead uses that size. I normally end up having to use the knife on my jackknife to tighten these down, and the reason you have to tighten these down is they wiggle loose. They've wiggled loose and backed all the way out. These covers have actually fallen off, and I've seen them floating around my boat. Not only my boat, you know, I've got a flat bottom, and when it's got a little bit of a chop, it's a rough ride, so it bounces around a lot. But even on full-size bass boats and some of the club tournaments I've fished, I've found these caps in the passenger seat and wondering how the heck they got off. So that's really my only complaint with the reels. I think they've held up well. They're not nearly as smooth as, you know, my higher end reels. You know, the Tatula R that I have, the Shimano SLX, and some of the other Abu Garcias I've collected over the years. But for something that essentially cost me like $55, it's actually a really good deal. So for the reels, I would certainly recommend them when it comes to the buy one get one free offer. For the standard price of $109, I certainly wouldn't buy it full price. It's just not a high enough quality for me to justify that cost. The only other kind of thing to mention real quick, and this is purely on me, at one point in this punch setup, I don't know whether I dropped this reel or this rod, or I stepped on it or what, but you guys might be able to see. Let's see. There you go. I bent this reel handle, either by dropping it or by stepping on it. I've done that with my Abu Garcias. The front deck on my boat is not that wide, so really not a big complaint or anything against Sixgill for that, but I did manage to do that in less than a year. You can also see this little nut is starting to back out, and I literally just tightened this when I took this out of my boat and carried this rod and reel from my boat into my fishing room, which was like 150 paces. So I don't know how this is already backed out. Really annoying. But again, there's no functionality to it, so not a huge thing. So for the reels, buy one, get one free offer. I would recommend them if you're looking for a backup or an entry-level reel. If you're looking for something that you're going to use every single day, and you're going to be really not abusive, but you're just going to be using it a lot, I don't know that these would necessarily hold up day in, day out use. But for an entry-level backup rod and reel, I would definitely recommend the Cyclone reel. So I guess let's talk rods. I guess we'll talk about the Creature rod. This is my punching setup. Since I got it in my hand. So for the punching setup, on the Cyclone reel, I've got 20-pound mono as the backing, and then I've got 50-pound... this looks like Power Pro. It's 50-pound braid. This backup reel, I probably didn't use Fireline, which is my primary braid that I like using. This is probably something cheaper that I got. But 50-pound braid, and then paired up with the Sixgill Creature rod. This is 7.6 medium, heavy power. Medium wouldn't really be good for punching. So I honestly didn't use this rod and reel nearly as much as I was hoping to this year. With the low water that we had on the Fox River, I didn't really go to my spots that I normally punch. And the other lakes that I normally go to punch, I didn't end up going to this year. Or the punching bite just didn't pan out. So didn't use this a whole lot. But I've used this punch setup for also, I was throwing some heavier lures, Alabama rig, and a few larger swim baits. It worked out fine. The one thing about this rod, it's a broomstick. It's a heavy action rod. It's not light. It is. It's got some heft to it. So, what I compare this to is my frog rod, because I bought this as kind of like a backup frog rod as well. Frog rod I use is a custom made Tricky Sticks. You guys probably have heard me talk about him. He's a custom rod maker in the northwest suburbs of Chicago. Makes some really high end, really awesome stuff. High end comes with the price though. So for this rod, what was this rod? This rod was $114.99, I think, when I bought it. So it was a BOGO. So I got the Creature rod, and then I got the Saga. The Saga was only $109.99, so this was the more expensive rod. This rod's held up well, though. I mean, I like the cork on the handles. I like the split grip like this. I think that's really comfortable. Really don't have any complaints about this rod and reel. that said, again, I didn't use it as much as I really wanted to. So hopefully next year I'll use this a bit more and we'll be able to get a deeper dive into it. But again, it does have some blue accents like on it, which I think looks pretty slick paired up with the black and blue on the Cyclone reel. So the Saga rod, again, kind of like the reels and my experience so far with the BOGO offers from Sixgill. There's a reason they have those BOGO offers. They're priced higher than what they probably should be if they were just selling these standalone. But with a buy one, get one free offer, well worth the money, because this rod really, it only cost me $58 in reality. So again, wouldn't necessarily recommend it as like a primary setup, one that you're going to be using day in and day out, but kind of like a niche thing that you kind of wanted to try out, hence my punching setup. Definitely would recommend it. So the other thing that I really do like is the line tie on these. I'm a little particular when it comes to my line ties, and what this one has is I don't really know what you call this, but it's just like a half loop. I don't know if I can get that to focus for you guys, but yeah, it's just like a half loop. So and it's facing that way, so you can just slide up the punch rig. It works really, really well, rather than something that was like a loop that way that you had to hook the bait through. So makes it nice, quick, and easy to slip that off. And I think this position in front of the reel is really the best place for that. You got less likely of a chance to hook yourself when you're grabbing this rod out of a boat or your car. So that's the Creature rod. I think it's decent. And then lastly, this was the Saga rod. So again, this was primarily going to be a backup square bill crankbait rod and my primary jerkbait rod. So this is a medium power 6'9" rod. So as far as throwing square bills, this thing's great. Really no issues with the action on this when it comes to throwing square bills. Jerkbaits, on the other hand, I got too long of a rod. That's on me. This really should be more of a 6'6", or a little bit shorter, like a 6'4". It's just a little bit too long for using jerkbaits, in my opinion. But again, that's no fault to Sixgill. That's just my choice when I bought it. I should have gotten something a little shorter. I'll leave the part numbers, obviously, for the reels and both of these rods that I'm talking about in the description. I know I'm not really good about that in most of my videos, but I'll make a point of it when I post this video. Square bill, this rod works great. This is really kind of a do-everything rod, in my opinion. I've thrown soft jerk baits. I've thrown swim baits. I've got a blade bait on this right now from my last fishing trip. Yeah, really no complaints about the rod action. No, my one complaint, when I first got this rod, that I was going to toss this thing in the river, I've gotten used to it, though, is the reel handle. So it's, normally I'm holding it like that. It's a really thin handle, and it's not a cork handle, it's foam, which I think that's why this rod is a little bit cheaper than the Creature rod. I really do prefer that cork. But it's really awkward when you hold it for the first time. It just doesn't feel right. Compared to the Saga or the Creature. The Creature, you can see, is a little bit of a thicker grip, which ergonomics wise I think is a lot better than the Saga. But after using it a few times, I did get used to it. It doesn't bother me anymore. But honestly, the first few trips, I hated this rod because of that handle. Um, but it does feel decent once you kind of get used to it, and the trigger grip is pretty nice as well. Never had any like rubbing issues or anything like that after casting countlessly. Because when you're fishing a square bill, I one of these days I really want to count the number of casts that I make when I'm fishing a square bill on the river. It just seems like it's a ridiculous amount of casts that I make. But again, so both of these rods and the reels, really the final word on it. I would never pay full price for this stuff. It's not the quality for that price point, but when you make it one of those buy one get one free offers, really would recommend it. For somebody that's looking for a backup rod, kind of like a niche rod that you might not use every single time, or maybe you're just looking to get a bait caster for the first time and try that out before investing a lot of money. Those work out pretty well, I'd say. So, if you guys are star rating people, I would say maybe a 3.5 out of 5. Or if you want whole numbers, I would say a 7 out of 10. That's what I got to say about Sixgill. I might honestly pick up a few more of their stuff in the springtime. It's really going to kind of depend on, to me, when I really look to purchase new equipment, there's two things that I kind of focus around. Again, I live in northern Illinois, and we have a lot of really awesome fishing shows, which are actually coming up in, I think, a little over a month's time. It's beginning of December right now. But the few shows that I enjoy going to here, there's the Muskie Expo. That's the first weekend in January this upcoming year in 2022, I believe. And then really the big one is the Chicago Sportsman Outdoor. It's got some big, long, complicated title. But it's, I think, end of January. And that's the one where the pros come out and give seminars, which I really enjoy those. But it's got a lot of like mom and pop shops there, as well as the big name manufacturers. That's actually where I bought my Shimano SLX a few years back. I think it was buy the reel and get the rod for free, which, it's a $150 reel and it was like a $120 rod at the time. So get some really good deals at that expo. And then the other big one that I kind of look forward to and kind of base some purchasing decisions around is Bass Pro Shops Spring Classic, which I think that is typically end of February, early March. So, yeah, I would definitely buy some more Sixgill stuff, I guess. But I would prioritize my normal higher end stuff. That's just the quality I've kind of gotten accustomed to. So I'm going to stop rambling. I appreciate everyone sticking with me if you made it this far into the video. And let me know, I guess, if you like me doing these reviews. I'm not one of those people that will buy brand new fishing gear every single year. Like replace everything, like rods, reels, and things like that. I am very slow to accumulate. I've got rods and reels that are over 10 years old that I'm still using. I will normally try to buy like one technique specific setup, and then just buy a new technique specific setup until I either break the rod or break the reel and then go replace it. So yeah, let me know if you guys like me doing this. I can expand it into other products, I guess, and things like that. So thanks again, and we'll see you all next time.